Should you do CrossFit kipping pull-ups, and are they dangerous? Let's talk about it. The kipping pull-up has had a lot of debate within the CrossFit community. It ends up being a lot more about, is a person prepared to do a kipping pull-up? In the non-CrossFit community, that's where it's a little bit more of, it's not necessary, it's cheating on a pull-up. So there's a lot of semantics that kind of get into play. So I want to be really specific today about when we're talking about, should you do a kipping pull-up and are kipping pull-ups dangerous? The broad thing is, it depends, but let's dive in and get more specific. First, talking about, are CrossFit kipping pull-ups dangerous? The kipping pull-up in CrossFit, which looks like this, is only dangerous if a person is not prepared for it. So for sure, if a person does not have the strength to do a strict pull-up, a good CrossFit coach is going to not have that person do kipping pull-ups. They might have them do variations of a kipping pull-up. If you want to be able to do a kipping pull-up, prerequisite to that would be make sure that you can do a strict pull-up and lift your own body weight up first before trying to control faster than your own body weight on the way down. If a person does have a strict pull-up, I do not think that this is dangerous unless the person is then not prepared for the volume. So we talked first, does the person have the strength? The second, do they have the capacity to handle how much volume is in a workout? Doing a workout with 100 pull-ups is a lot different for someone that's a veteran and has been doing some type of calisthenics or CrossFit for 10 years versus a brand new person in the gym. And again, a good coach is going to modify and scale that appropriately so that way everyone hits the appropriate stimulus or what the point of the workout is. So let's go back to talking about volume, right? The person has the strength to do a strict pull-up. Besides the volume of, hey, 100 pull-ups in total, it also depends on what the workout has, right? Doing Murph, a famous CrossFit workout, which is, as prescribed, 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups while wearing a weight vest, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then another mile run. That's a really intense workout, but let's focus on just that first part. 100 pull-ups. Even if they weren't weighted, because again, if I'm going to do a weighted pull-up, I should be able to do strict weighted pull-ups. Even if it wasn't weighted, 100 is still a lot in one chunk, which is different than doing sets of 5 to 10 broken out with other movements in between, like do some pull-ups, do some push-ups, do some pull-ups, do some push-ups. So again, it really comes down to the modification there. If the coach is not modifying appropriately and if the athlete can't check their ego, then it becomes more dangerous for the athlete to do, and it should be modified. We've talked about, does the person have the strict strength to do the pull-up? Do they have the capacity, which just takes time to accumulate that and testing things out a little bit? The third part that I really want to make sure that we cover as far as are CrossFit pull-ups dangerous, it depends, is going to be the technique. It's going to be the technique. So if a person has bad technique, but they can do a bunch of strict pull-ups, I want them to work on fixing that piece of the technique. When we move correctly, then we can start to move quickly. In CrossFit, we talk about how there has to be a skill that's developed before you add intensity to the movement, adding weight, adding speed, adding volume, the number of reps. So if a person can't handle the technique, because technique and speed are not at odds with one another, and a kipping pull-up is a fast dynamic movement, it's really important that they have good technique, not only when they're fresh, but when they're tired. And so again, this drives home the point that it's on the athlete and the coach together to make sure that they're doing the appropriate work to have the strict pull-up strength, to have the capacity, but not only just that, but to have good technique during the strength piece and during the volume piece. So that answers our questions on, is the CrossFit kipping pull-up dangerous? No, it's not dangerous, unless you don't have good technique, unless you do too much volume that you're not prepared for, unless you're kipping pull-ups and you have no strict pull-up in your repertoire. So it's going to be important that we hit those 3 checkpoints if we're going to be knocking out kipping pull-ups in a workout, and obviously it modifies. So should you do the kipping pull-up? Is it kind of cheating? I don't think it's cheating. It's the sport of CrossFit. I think that's fine. Can general population be doing it? Absolutely. Given those 3 things that we talked about, is it dangerous? Last thing that I want us to talk about and think about for should we do it, it's just a way to increase intensity while someone is training. They're doing more work in less time. So that is raising the intensity. Here's an example of what I want you guys to think about. A strict press is not cheating. A push press in a weightlifting movement is not cheating. A push jerk is not cheating, nor is a split jerk. We wouldn't say, hey, this athlete came onto the weightlifting platform, they push pressed it, so that wasn't cheating, but they split jerked it, and that is cheating because they split their legs, and that might make it easier, right? So what you want to think about is a strict pull-up is kind of like a strict press. A kipping pull-up is kind of like a push press or a push jerk. Butterfly pull-up is a little bit more like that split jerk where they're more dynamic and what you see most Olympic weightlifters doing. So when we're going more dynamic on strict press, push jerk, or strict press, split jerk, it's just allowing the person to use more momentum so they can lift more weight and lift heavier weight in the same amount of time, relatively speaking. The exact same thing applies to this point in the gymnastics kipping pull-up, which is they can do more reps if they kip versus doing strict. They can do more reps if they do butterfly versus kipping. And again, this comes down to the sport of CrossFit. For competitive athletes, they obviously have to do it. But let's talk more Gen Pop. I don't think it's going to cause problems, again, if a person has the capacity built up over time. So would I want them to do kipping pull-ups in a workout and maybe butterfly pull-ups in a workout? Well, if they can do it with the technique well, if they can make sure that they have a strict pull-up beforehand, and if we've already been aware of what's going on with their intensity that they've been able to handle volume-wise, then I'm okay with it. And this, again, comes down to the relationship between the coach and the athlete. The kind of untalked about thing here that happens when we talk about, are kipping pull-ups bad? Bro, that's a half rep. Did they even kip? Did they even get a pull-up? What's not kind of thought about is when CrossFit happens, it's in a group class under the supervision of a coach. And obviously, like in any profession, some coaches are unbelievably great and some coaches not so great. So it really comes down to the environment that is fostered within the gym, the relationship of the coach to the athlete and the athlete to the coach, and how they communicate. So no movement, in this case, in my opinion, is going to be inherently dangerous. The situation matters, the athlete that's doing the movement matters, and their coach that's talking to them, if there is any there, matters. So when we talk about, again, should you do a kipping pull-up? Is it dangerous? What's going on? How do we determine the environment? Like, what's happening? What makes it dangerous if it's going to be so? Those are the types of things that we have to look at. It's not dangerous if we have the strength, we are getting really good technique throughout the entire time, even when we're tired, and we've built up volume over time to be able to do that many reps. Nope, it's not going to be dangerous. You can't do those things? It is going to be dangerous. Should you do it? Yes, it's going to allow you to do more work in less time. You're going to get faster times on workouts, and these types of increases in intensity are going to lead to things like better health and wellness to a degree. You're also in a community where I mentioned the coach knows you. They're ideally a great coach, and they're teaching you the technique that you need. They're helping you progress and scale and modify when you need. And all of that stuff is going to be so important in this gym environment where you're around other people getting healthier, which again is another main overlooked point. So I don't think the pull-up is dangerous, the CrossFit kipping pull-up, and you should be doing them given you're in the right environment with a good coach and you have those prerequisites of being able to do, at bare minimum, at least a strict pull-up first. So guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video on the kipping pull-up. If you want to talk more about other movements, are they dangerous? Should I be doing them? What if I have an injury? What do I do? Please comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, and any questions that you guys have, we'll answer or we'll make a video for it. And lastly, after you guys have subscribed and or commented below, don't forget to check out the Kylo app. Myself and fellow movement practitioners here in Tampa, Florida have come together to create your daily best follow along app for improving your holistic wellness and fitness. We've got flexibility, we've got breath work, we've got feel your damn muscle flows, all taught by professionals in their field. And you can subscribe at the link in the show description, and you can use code FYDM for 50% off your first month.